morning, Hagerman High School. My name is Leland Johnson. Good morning, those at home who are part of this interactive classroom. For those of you who are at home, I want to let you know you can get the documents that I passed out to everybody. I'll attach it as a link onto the video. Today I will be talking about the importance of cross-curricular writing and also provide a simple strategy in which you can implement such writing. So first, I want to take about 45 seconds. I want you to take that blank piece of paper that I gave you. I want you to just kind of look around your room and just take a moment to jot down any notes that has anything to do that you might think with your particular content specialty. It can be angles, it can be the balls on the wall, it can be any kind of books that you see, just anything in the room. My gangly appearance. Okay. Let's go with, I want to have a couple of volunteers to read theirs out loud. Let's go with Cody. Mr. Nelson, if you don't mind.
Like what I have like in my classroom?
Well, or your classroom, that works fine. No, this area, this.
Oh, this one, like right here.
Yes.
I mean, they're all the books you have. I mean, we got shapes hanging up from the ceiling. We got posters that we can be working with. All sorts.
In what way? How could you use those? How could you use the shapes?
Well, for math, we can find many things with those. Volume, the area, the circumference, so on and so forth. We can do that with everything in here.
Beautiful. Volume, area, circumference. Very specific math terms, right? Awesome.
There are several books that are art specific. I see masterpieces up close and the Louvre up close that I really need to check out and see what they look like.
That's good. What kind of things would be in that art book?
There would be art images that our students could talk about or write about, and they could dissect them as to the elements and principles that are used.
Okay. So, elements, principles, artistic speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's go with one more. Let's go, let me see a hand. Let me get a volunteer. Okay.
The color balls remind me of different colors of food. The giraffe looks great to eat. It'd be a great project to break down. It's a wonderful project.
How do you show that at the fair?
Do you have room to cut that up on your table?
Oh yeah.
So looking at the giraffe, what cuts specifically do you think would be particularly delicious?
I could make something good out of all of it, I believe. The students did, but the strip loins would be spectacular.
Strip loins, there's a very specific term. What I'm driving at, guys, is the difference from one curricular to the next. Notice that he said spheres, and angles, and she said dissecting the different parts of art, and I forgot all the words you said, I apologize. And you said strip loins. See, when you're teaching writing, when the writers are teaching writing in each of their individual fields, they can't teach every individual idea, every specific language that your particular curriculum has. Each one has their own language, has their own feel. And so when they're going to college, they're expected to write about what they're learning. When I just got done with my bachelor's degree, I had to write my math class. I had to write a 2-page paper about angles and how they intersect and how they work together and what I could use the Pythagorean theorem for in real life. It's just expected of them to know this, and they want them to know this. And your English teachers do not have the time to go over every single specialty. What I also want you to notice, though, is some of the similarities. Ms. Scott, you use spheres in art?
Yes.
Right. What I'm driving at here is not only the differences, but the similarities also. Because with the differences and the similarities build scaffolding. Right? So they can take what they've learned in one class and then write it, and it deeps it into their longer term memory because they're reapplying it and reusing it in every class. Most of you on the survey said that, yes, writing is important across the curriculum. So I'm not going to harp too deeply on it. I think most people here already understand that. What I really wanted to get to was a very deployable idea of how you might be able to teach writing. I have to give props to Mrs. Brooks. Miss Brooks, she came up with this in her last school, her and 2 other teachers, that they could teach writing across the curriculum. If you look at your pamphlet, it's called CERT. CERT stands for Claim, Evidence, Reasoning, and Transition. These are just elements of a paragraph. And if you're wondering where that language comes from, it comes directly from the state curriculums and the state tests. So your claim should be clear, concise, and address the topic directly. Your evidence should be strong, directly supports the claim, and presented in clear terms. The reasoning should strongly support the claim and logically explains the evidence. And then, of course, your transition clearly goes from one topic to the next. I'm going to kind of cut my wrist here and jump to the Shark Tank and let you guys grade me. You have the curriculum in front of you, and behind it, you have a CERT paragraph. From the example above, we see Pig's sister tell Pig, "My friend and me are going to the movies." In frame 3, Pig corrects his sister, saying, "ISIS, ISIS." This is an example of a homonym, because ISIS sounds like ISIS. Because Pig declared ISIS loudly over the phone, he gets arrested, which in turn gets Pig arrested. Homonyms are one way in which readers can become confused by an author's intended message. Another common way is the lack of commas, as exemplified in the comic by Monkey Boy 155 below. Let's eat Grandma. Let's eat Grandma. Let's eat Grandma. Let's eat Grandma. And you see the difference. So, looking at your first page, how would you grade in the comics Pearls Before Swine, Pig is arrested because of a homonym? Any ideas?
You mean as though you wrote that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got.
Well, I wouldn't fail you. What I would do, I got it.
Okay.
What I would do is I would go through and I would correct that and I'd talk to you about why you need proper punctuation.
Hey, I do have a note about punctuation. We'll get to that in just a second. So let's go on to the examples. From the example above, we see Pig's sister tell Pig, "My friend and me are going to the movies," in frame 2. In frame 3, Pig corrects his sister, saying, "ISIS, ISIS." How would you grade that portion? On a scale of 1 to 10, because that's how we're doing it with points here. Miss Lee, how would you grade that?
I wasn't listening. What's the question?
Okay,
So
Dr.
is the claim is clear, concise, and addresses? The claim is clear, concise, and addresses the topic.
Okay. This is an example of a homonym because ISIS sounds like ISIS, a well-known terrorist organization responsible for the 9/11 attacks. Because Pig declared ISIS loudly over the phone, he gets arrested, which in turn gets Pig arrested. I think I said that twice, so that should not get a good grade. But on a scale of 1 to 20, how would you grade my reasoning, Miss Silver?
20, of course.
20? You don't know?
12.
12? Just arbitrarily? 15? And then the transition sentence. Another common way is the lack of commas, as exemplified in the comic by Monkey Boy 155 below. Miss Brooks, do us the pleasure and tell us how you would grade my transition sentence.
Because the transition doesn't really connect to the unifying idea of like communication, it kind of does, but I have to make that stretch. I would probably take it down to
Developing transition. There you go. See, you guys together just graded your first CERT paragraph. It's that straightforward. I highly recommend the rubrics because the students know exactly what they're being graded on, and it lets you have a guideline for how you're going to grade them. Does that make sense? Now, I did want to address 2 issues that was brought up. You brought up grammar, and I think that's a good point. Most teachers said they don't feel comfortable grading grammar, either because they're not strong enough in grammar to feel like they should grade it, or because they want the students to feel free to write. I'm not going to sit here and say grammar isn't important, because it is. But I am going to say that CERT is set up change the way a student thinks so that they start connecting evidence and reasoning with a claim that they're making. And so it's more about their thought process than their grammar. Again, I'm not going to say that grammar isn't important. If you see a grammatical error, by all means, fix it. But the stress on CERT is thought more than actual punctuation and spelling. You're going to want them, of course, to spell your terms correctly because you know how to spell those and you can correct those. But the grading emphasizes thought. Something else that a lot of people talk about was journals. I think journals are fantastic. Here's what I would say. If you're going to implement journals into your classroom, look at them and grade them. Hold them to some kind of a standard. It doesn't have to be this beautiful work of art, but it should at least address what you talked about in the class. If they just wrote, math is stupid over and over again on their journal, they didn't get the point, right? Okay. If you have any questions about CERT, if you have any questions or other ways you can bring writing into your curriculum, Ms. Brooks, Mrs. Lee would be joyful to talk to you about it. All right. Thank you guys for your time.